Do you remember when me and a bunch of people in Canada said before the election that electing Mark Carney would be a really bad idea and that he would be worse than Trudeau? And we were all told that we were crazy. Well, his pick for Minister of Justice, Sean Fraser, has decided that he is going to introduce the Combating Hate Law, which basically takes the criminal code and makes it into double speak, because there are already laws in place to prevent the things that are mentioned in this law. I'm going to read from the website canada.ca in a second here, and we are going to see just what I'm talking about. But this really is not necessary, and it comes suspiciously quick after the march that Antifa broke up, which is also suspicious. And also it comes just about the same time that Mr. Carney has decided unilaterally that Palestine is going to be recognized by Canada as a state. And I would like to mention that in 2024, when the NDP brought this up, the House voted 204 to 118 against recognizing Palestine as a state. And less than a year later, Carney is just like, yep, we're going to do it. They're a state. And this bill comes very quickly on the heels of that statement. And I am going to read from this now. And we are going to see just how contradictory this bill is in itself, especially after we just heard the Prime Minister say he's going to recognize Palestine as a state, and after the summer of blatant anti-Semitic protests that have been happening unchecked across the frickin' country. So, I now read from the site. There is a horrifying rise in hate crimes in communities in Canada. Will not tolerate anyone being made to feel afraid because of who they are, how they worship, or where they gather. Rising anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, homophobia, and transphobia have left too many people feeling unsafe in their own communities. No, you dumb fucks. Would you like to know what's making people feel unsafe in their communities? The fact that police chiefs in places like North York are saying, just let them into your houses when they break in. Don't fight back. Oh, if they try to assault you physically or sexually, don't fight. We'll deal with it after. It's fine. Just let them have their way with you. Yes. But it's the supposed rise in hate crimes that are making people feel unsafe in the community. Yeah, the hate crimes from the illegal / imported people who are basically allowed to run rampant and do whatever they want. To address this rise in hate, the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada and Minister responsible for the Atlantic Canada Opportunities Safety Agency, the Honourable Sean Fraser, today introduced the Combating Hate Act. The legislation would amend the criminal code, which means change it, because there are already things in place to cover, discrimination and obstruction. And here is the list. They would amend the criminal code to, and here is a bullet list, make it a crime to intimidate and obstruct people from accessing places of worship as well as schools, community centers, and other places primarily used by an identifiable group. Again, under the criminal code, there are already laws in place to deal with that. There are assault laws, there are trespass laws, there are mischief laws. But apparently we need a law that specifically says these people were not allowed to go into the church because these other people didn't want them to go into the church because of their specific religious affiliation. So apparently we need that specified. Make hate-motivated crimes a specific offense, ensuring such conduct is more clearly denounced and that offenders are more clearly held accountable. So again, we already have, like, you can as an aggravating factor in sentencing, you can say this person was hateful, this person had racist views, and therefore they were using those views to commit this crime, and that can be used in a sentence. Like, say they committed murder because they hated black people and they killed a black person specifically because they hated blacks. Well, that would be put into their sentence as, you know, they have a specific motivation to kill a specific demographic of people. But apparently we need an actual codification in the criminal code that says this person has committed offense X, which equals hate crime, and they must go to jail for a certain amount of time because they are a bad, hateful person, specifically. Not just because they killed somebody. It's not because they murdered somebody or, like, assaulted somebody. No, it's just because they were hateful. Make it a crime to willfully promote hatred against an identifiable group by displaying certain terrorist groups or hate symbols in public. Again, we already, like, we don't allow people to wander down the street flying frickin' iron crosses and like, this is, are you going to tackle the people with the swastika flags as much as you're going, or like, are you going to tackle those people the same as you're going to tackle the people flying Islamist flags and Palestinian flags that are, you know, attacking synagogues? I doubt it. Because A, there are less of the swastika flags. I'm going to say it right now. Because we've you know, kind of looked at the Nazis and aired out how horrible they were and showed that to the light of day and went, yeah, those people are terrible. However, you guys have decided, let's legislate people into oblivion and make it so nobody can point out when people do bad things. And let's make it so nobody can talk about it. And oh boy, why is history repeating itself all of a sudden, I wonder? The proposed changes respect Canadians' charter freedoms and rights of expression bullshit and peaceful assembly, and will not unreasonably affect the right to protest. Oh, I bet you it will. I bet you're gonna let the pro-Palestinians march along in the streets and continue to do what they're doing across campuses and in large cities. And the moment somebody organizes a peaceful protest or even an antithetical protest, they're just gonna get arrested. I guarantee you. In addition, changes to the criminal code would codify the definition of hatred to clarify when conduct constitutes a hate crime. So the Criminal Code of Canada is now going to become a dictionary and define hatred, because hatred, being one of the most primal of human emotions, looks exactly the same for every single human being on the planet. Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Finally, it would streamline the process to litigate propaganda charges by removing the requirement to obtain the Attorney General's consent. By removing this step, law enforcement would be able to act quickly to counter hate speech and protect communities. This is not a good thing. This basically means that any left-leaning law enforcement agency can be like, this person is propagandizing for a specific group. We're going to arrest them. And they won't need the Attorney General's say-so. It used to be that to go after somebody for specifically hate propaganda, you needed to go to the federal Attorney General and be like, hey, here's my evidence that this person is spreading hate propaganda. May I please go after him, sir? Not anymore. If this is passed, that's not good. That means law enforcement agencies across the country can look at somebody's fucking Twitter or Facebook or anything. This could go for journalists. This could go for YouTubers. This could go for anybody that a specific government or law enforcement department doesn't agree with, and boom, you're hate propagandizing. And that's terrifying. We are following, this is why our Prime Minister keeps going buddy-buddy with Keir Starmer, because we are following in the steps of the UK and Australia. And thank God we have Pierre Poilievre back in the leadership for the opposition position to call this crap out. And basically, the fact is that now we will not get a vote of no confidence because Carney is doing all of the things for all of the right people to ensure that nobody will vote against what he wants. So even though their majority is very small, the game he's playing is basically he is able to unilaterally decide what he's going to decide, and the only thing Poilievre can do is shed light on it right now. That's all he can do. And it's a very scary and frustrating position for him to be in, and it's a very scary and frustrating position to be in to watch. And to listen to people from other countries who are just as fucked as we are because their governments are doing just as bad and just the exact same bullshit. But for some reason, Canada has become the canary in the coal mine for everybody else to apparently not listen to, but laugh at. You guys are the dumbest miners I think I've ever seen. Instead of going, hey, this is bad, you're like, ah, fucking Canada, look how stupid they are. They're dying of carbon monoxide poisoning and methane. No. We're all, unless we all who think this way, and there are a lot of us, unless we all start talking like this together and pointing out the stupidity together and fighting back, we are all fucked. Whether you be Canadian, whether you be from England, Australia, the US, unless we fucking keep talking about this and banding together, we are all done. So, that's my take on things. Let me know what you guys think. Have a great day. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.